Excel has a number of different chart types available, and they're not all equally effective in depicting the data that you've got in a meaningful way. Most Excel users agree that a line chart, like the one we see to the right of the data here, is probably the best type for showing a trend. If you're trying to accentuate the volume, perhaps a column chart like we see below the data is better. And there's a variation on that, a 3D column to the right of that as well. There are other chart types too that might have special uses. There are stock charts, there are area charts, and here and there, some are going to be more effective than others. And a lot of this is subjective too. Your particular take on it, your particular read on it. Sometimes you're trying to adhere to conventions that your company has used in prior years too for charts. Quite a few choices here, over 70 basic chart types available, and it's a good idea to experiment with different kinds of charts. And even if you haven't created a chart, if you're looking at this particular worksheet, for example, you might say, well, how else might this data look? And so clicking the chart below the data here, this green border chart, just click this chart. How might we view this in a different way? And you'll notice when you do click on a chart, you will see some new tabs. Here's a design tab at the top of the screen, and the extreme left button is called Change Chart Type. And ultimately in this dialog box, you will see 73 choices. And you can start at those. You'll see some unusual chart types. Perhaps some of these you've never seen or used before. But the very first one is the most common one, and you're likely to see a lot of charts of this type. They are referred to as column charts. And almost the same, but rotated 90 degrees. You'll see these farther down the list here. Bar charts, same general idea, but just rotated differently. Now, we might turn this into a bar chart. Choose this. Click OK. Is that better? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think it's better, but at different times I've changed my mind about how things are viewed. Depends on what you're looking for. Line chart here, we've mentioned this. Pretty good at showing a trend. Let's change it. Now, how much time does this take to change? Not much at all. And to make it slightly faster, double click. So let's double click this column choice maybe. How's that look? Maybe pretty good? Is that better than the line chart? Maybe? Change the chart type. It's so easy, it's so fast. And you do want to explore a little bit. Maybe you want to try a pie chart, or how about one of these cylinder charts? Is that a better choice? I don't think so. One thing that will help you in this process too is to undo. And most of you are familiar with this button perhaps on the quick access toolbar, which might be above or below the ribbon, and a great keystroke shortcut, and you see it right there, Control Z. And in this course, I'll be using this a lot. I'm going to press Control Z right now. Sometimes you make a choice, you don't like it, and you can press Control Z repeatedly, or even click the drop arrow there to review recent actions. And the undo process can remember up to 100 of your last steps. And that becomes invaluable at times when you're making changes and then you want to reverse direction. So I could press Control Z a few more times, and this chart will change back to a line chart. And how about the chart below the data? It's going to change back to the column chart that we saw before. The pie chart to the right of the data has its uses, but it's definitely limited in how much it can show. And when you look at this pie chart, which has labels on it, I think you can begin to see why maybe these are not the best charts for certain kinds of data. Now, one by one, we will see in depth in different movies in this course more information about line charts and column charts and say this pie chart that we're looking at. But just a quick look. Look at the March value here of 125, and then the value on the back, sort of a gold-orange color, it's 180. Do they really look that different? Some people might say, well, I think maybe the green piece looks bigger. Well, maybe not, maybe it does, but you begin to see what's going on here. Some charts are not that great for showing the data the way you want it to be shown. And how about this 3D column chart here? Colorful, interesting, we could tilt it, and there are all kinds of things you can do with it there to manipulate it. But can you tell me how much sales or profits, whatever this is showing, for one of those green columns? Can you read that? Is that over 100? Is it under 100? Now when you point to it with the mouse, a nice little pop-up tells you what the value is. I think if you're just glancing at this, it's hard to read these. As a measure of how they vary relatively, perhaps that makes sense. We can see that the green totals here, representing Asia, are certainly taller than the Europe totals, which are in front of them. But the relative difference, well, here and there, not so easy. And sometimes you're trying to come up with that ideal chart that, on the one hand, shouldn't require a whole lot of explanation when you're trying to read it, and at the same time is interesting and more colorful. So there are quite a few different choices. Again, some other choices as I move to different sheets here. Here are some different column charts. I'll flip over to bar charts, and again, recognize here we're simply talking about practically the same kind of chart, just rotated 90 degrees. Bar charts, column charts. A few more line charts here. Actually, this is only one line chart here. There's another one off to the right. You can see these. And at different times, again, we emphasize showing data over a period of time, in this case, months. But I've seen line charts that cover hourly activity, perhaps hourly sales, even by minute with certain kinds of scientific data maybe. So quite a few different choices here. Some pie charts, one's 3D, one's 2D. There's some area charts. We'll talk about why you might want to use these. There's another kind of chart called scatter chart, and that's when you're comparing two sets of values. There are quite a few different chart types, and as we said, 73 to be exact, major chart types, and then you can take it from there and change them quickly and easily. And the more you work with charts, the more you'll begin to gravitate toward just a few types. And if you are only going to be using charts sparingly, I would recommend that you more or less stick to the big four, and that would be column charts, line charts, pie charts, and of course, from time to time, bar charts as well. And so here and there, remember, it's very easy to change the chart type. Don't hesitate to do that, and you'll quickly reduce your chart choices to a few favorites.